do my exam.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you guys about that in a little bit. Good. What was number 4? Huh? Yep. Number 1 was home health care.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. But that just does push growth. Nursing has been growing steadily for how many years now? A lot. Trying to find one of my pet peeves right here. Hold on. I want you guys to learn. So read that for me real quick. Tell me what's wrong with that. While you're reading all that, I'm going to look. Make sure that I don't have a vice president. Did everybody else catch that? Very first sentence, what did it say? This is a news article. Excerpt from the CDC talking about that salmonella outbreak they've had everywhere. Salmonella isn't known for being a super person, never going to be super deadly anything, but it will be down alone. Super deadly virus.
And then later on the article says that it's not deadly.
It says not what?
That it's not deadly.
I didn't even read it, but I just got it in the book. Where is it?
So
right here.
no deaths have been reported.
No reported. Yeah, we'll get to salmonella later on. So I want to get through this other stuff. We'll start talking about what it can cause problems, what it can't cause problems. Salmonella type you can't still. But here you go. This is right off the CDC, and they're still calling it a what?
Virus.
A virus. Now I don't want my blood pressure driving me crazy. I mean, some of these guys that do this too are supposedly the technical or medical editors for some of these. What happened?
Did you see that SpaceX rocket last night? Yeah. That one was insanely weird.
What? Now what happened? What you guys do?
Last night there was like this crazy light in the sky. It had this huge like cloud around it that was coming off with light. And I had friends in California that were sending pictures. And
was it someone from Vandenberg? Was it they launched it?
I don't know if it was a rocket. So everyone's saying it's SpaceX, so I don't know if they launched anything.
Could have been, yeah.
Weird looking.
There was another one time somebody got a picture way down in Big Bend, and it was with the whole light lit up. And it turned out it was actually a rocket being launched from Vandenberg. But just because of the way the Earth was so bright, and the long exposure, it was lit up the whole. So, could be aliens too. We are near Roswell. They didn't come back. I just don't understand how you can be an alien civilization, fly all the way across the galaxy, and then come and crash in Roswell, New Mexico.
Right.
Think there's something would have been a little better than that. All right, where do we stop, guys? Let's get through this while we get.
That's our last slide that we stopped
This
at.
right here. I want to get to the organisms here. I want to start getting. We've got the new organisms in the lab, but we're having to get them to return some of the plates. Did y'all use the plates last week? They're all dried out. That didn't even bother me. We got a bunch of new plates out and they're all dried out already. That's pretty right. All right. So this is an autoclave right here. Again, we talked about the Tulsa dentist.
Yes.
We're going to do this in Tulsa. All right. Pasteurization. Death is a moist heat used for milk, ice cream, yogurt, fruit juices, sour cream. Some of these other ones. I didn't bring that in. It is not considered sterilization generally. There's a difference. Sterilization is going to do what?
Kill.
Kill everything, right? The idea behind that is what you sterilize. Sterilization is you get rid of life. Heat tolerant microbes can survive, and everybody knows this, no matter you keep your milk in the fridge long enough, what happens?
It'll kill.
This morning I went to put in half and half of my coffee, which he knows I don't have any coffee. Guess what came out? Little chunks, all right? So, does not get rid of everything, it does not get rid of some of the spoilage, it tries to slow it down. Talk about 3 or 4 different times here. Batch pasteurization is pretty much what they do in the US still. You raise it up to about 60, 65 degrees centigrade for, I think it's for 5 minutes. And that kills most of the, it's gonna kill the pathogens, right? Because they can't survive much higher than what?
30
What's that outside tolerant rate for mesophils?
Isn't it 30 something
They
Celsius?
like 37. They get up around high 50s and stuff, they start dying off. And a lot of the spoilage ones. Flash pasteurization is what they're starting to do with some other, let us go through both these. Flash pasteurization, ultra high temperature pasteurization. These, they bring these things up to higher. One of them is 85, I think, which is flash pasteurization. And then ultra high temperature pasteurization is actually in the hundreds of centigrade. But it's only for a few seconds. Okay? The interesting thing about these, especially this one, is it allows you to, you ever thought about the little creamers you get at the store?
Mm-hmm.
How long have those been sitting there? Nobody has any idea. I don't think the store people have any idea, right? These are going to be ultra high pasteurization. They get it so high that these things can have almost unlimited shelf life. We'll talk about one more in a minute, which gives it unlimited shelf life. Same with flash pasteurization. This starts to get close to sterilization. Not quite, but it gets there. So this is unpopular in places in Europe and in Greece and some other places. Because if you can get rid of almost everything inside of your milk, what you have to not worry about?
The bacteria like E. coli, salmonella,
Right, that should, hopefully
listeria.
pasteurization will get rid of that.
Yeah.
Because remember we went back and we talked about pasteurization and on wall, did I talk about, oh, I didn't talk about the other one, I'll go back to that one again. Why this is important. But if you can get rid of even the spoilage microbes and most of the microbes in there, what do you not have to do with your milk?
Oh, keep it in the fridge?
No?
Yeah, fridge.
You don't have to put it in the fridge.
Sorry.
No, that's fine, that's nothing to worry about, no. I can get it. And it's got real popular places where they don't have, you know, sometimes electricity's not quite as stable. People in the US though, have not taken hold of this yet. Anybody here want to leave their milk out on the counter?
Mm-mm.
How come? It's not gonna go bad?
So they do this in America too? It's just not...
No, there's actually one company in America that does flash pasteurization, but they still tell you to refrigerate their milk because nobody was buying it.
Oh.
It's called
Just a thing in the, yeah, just a thing in the brain.
Oh.
But some of these things can last for a long time, like I said. Those little creamers are just creamers. But because you kill everything in there, they can last almost indefinitely. I think they get about 6 to 8 months out of flash pasteurization without refrigeration. Not too bad. Now, the problem though, you gotta be careful is, the hotter you get it, what's the downside of that? You can start getting a little bit of changes in texture and flavor and stuff. That's another reason. All right, why is pasteurization important? Some people say it destroys the nutrients inside of food, especially a lot of organic people. There's a company out of Seattle called Odwalla Fruit Juices. Before you guys were born, their big marketing campaign was, we do not pasteurize anything. We want to keep all the goodness, the healthy goodness in our Odwalla fruit juices. Well, guess what happened? They gave some of the good, healthy
Bacteria.
E. coli in some of theirs, and they got 20 people sick and 2 deaths. So they were 2 small kids at age 0157.
Oh.
You look on the wall now, it is now what? Pasteurized. Ultra high temperature sterilization, 140 degrees for 1 to 3 seconds, and then cool down really fast. These can be stored indefinitely. This is what they do with some of the medias, some of the other stuff. You gotta be careful with some medias because you can damage what's in it. They usually float with it. But once this has been ultra high temperature sterile, it has been sterilized. That's the difference. It has an indefinite shelf life. They do this with what? When would you want to do this maybe? And you gotta be careful. Some things you can't heat up as high, even for 1 to 3 seconds. You can start denaturing proteins pretty quick in some of these things. In fact, that's the whole idea behind killing the bacteria, right? So when would you might want to do this? When might you want to do this?
Maybe for those foods that people use in the army, those prepared.
MREs?
Yeah.
Some of the MREs, are they freeze right now, or are they still, I haven't had an MRE in a while. Last time I had them,
Not all of them are.
I'm not sure what they are. Which one?
Not all of them are.
They're not all there, because that's gonna be some of these like this. It gives it almost indefinite shelf life. There was a big push back in the late 80s, early 90s for prepared foods that had been treated like this, and they had an indefinite shelf life. Problem with it, over time, what can happen to everything? Even if it doesn't go bad, what can happen to it? They can start to separate out, right? Start to sort of just break down chemically on itself. So they didn't do real well. That's not many MREs and peanuts were like, you know. I don't know how the MRE was. All right. But water, things like that. Things that you want to have indefinite shelf life.
Water.
Emergency rations, things like that. People can do this. Emergency water supply. You can get them, you can make sure there's nothing in them, and they should theoretically last forever.
Do they do that with like canned foods that last a long time, like, or no?
Canned food, that's part of the canning process.
Oh.
They actually pretty much autoclave canned.
Oh, okay.
Because they go through pressure cookers and stuff, so basically they autoclave it. They can last almost indefinitely.
Okay.
Drying is used for materials that cannot be sterilized with moist heat. Some things don't react well to water. Okay, you just can't blast steam into some things that just don't do well. They start to fall apart. You can do dry heat. Again, denatured proteins, same old stuff, oxidizes metabolic and structural chemicals. Difference is it requires higher temperatures for longer time than moist heat. How come that's the case? They're both heat.
Because moist heat is known to be hotter in shorter time than.
Maybe shorter time, but still 100 degrees, 100 degrees, 100 degrees, all right?
Oh, the water retains the heat longer.
Doesn't necessarily retains it, part of it, but they also does what? Did I talk about standing in a pool in this one?
Yeah, you did.
That's what I thought. I already went over this. We didn't go over this slide already?
No.
Okay. We're talking about that. Same thing when I talk about pool. You can stand outside in 70-degree weather all day, you're not gonna get too cold, right? Can you stand in a 70-degree pool all day long? Water transfers heat much more efficiently. Incineration is the ultimate means of sterilization. When you put your loop in that flame, you carbonize everything. It is gone. There's nothing in there that's ever going to come back to life. Okay. If you give me an example of dry heat that's used almost daily. We use this in labs sometimes for glassware, it's called baking. We use the same old term. Put it in there for 400 degrees for 24 hours. Pretty much gets rid of everything. Can you think of a dry heat that you use every single day?
For sterilization?
Every day. Well, not every day anymore. It used to be every day. Not so much. Nobody? Is anybody cooking here?
Is it like the utensils at the restaurants and stuff like
No,
that?
that's gonna be sanitation.
Okay.
That's part of it. How about your oven? Why do you cook stuff in your oven? What does your oven do? You know those things in the house that go long? It's hot, you cook food in there? Not a microwave. What is it? That's dry heat, guys. That's
Yeah,
what
but
you
is that
do.
considered sterilization?
Yeah, that's why you cook your food.
Or
Why
was
do
it
you
because
cook
it
your
tastes
food?
better? It's
But
good.
is that why they started cooking food?
Because all the bacteria
No.
and salmonella, so it is technically sterilization.
It is, yeah. People started cooking their food because they were getting sick if they weren't cooking it. Now later on, it became part of the flavor thing. Originally, it was actually to sterilize everything in it.
Oh,
Not just bacteria, what about pork?
yeah.
Papiforms, trichinosis, things in there like that. All right. Refrigeration and freezing, and this is a review of the last one, decreases microbial metabolism, growth, and reproduction. Chemical reactions occur much slower at lower temperatures. Everything just slows down. Liquid water is not available if you freeze it, which is going to pretty much slow down almost all of those. So, if I freeze something at negative 20 degrees centigrade, are there any chemical reactions going on in that organism anymore? any metabolic, any protein, any enzymatic activity.
No.
Yes, we'll get that way. There it is. That's why you can't keep them at that temperature forever. They slowly start to break down, and some of their stuff starts to break down. Refrigeration halts the growth of most pathogens. But put a star next to this one.
Which one?
Some microbes can multiply in refrigerated foods. The big one right now you hear about is what? What was growing and multiplying in ice cream?
Listeria.
Listeria can actively grow and divide at refrigerated temperatures. Slow freezing more effective than quick freezing. You want to get those big crystals. Organisms vary in their susceptibility to freezing. Again, if you put a piece of chicken in the freezer, can you take it out and eat it raw the next day? Why not?
Why would you want to?
Would it be safe?
No,
Why not?
because some bacteria last longer.
Different things are going to respond differently to freezing. Some bacteria can survive for a long time. Now, if you pull that chicken from the back of your freezer out there, and it's good, you happen to label it and it says 2011. Not some of those. Probably older. Is there probably going to be anything alive on that?
No.
No. Things after a while are going to die if you freeze it. Now, don't go and do that on purpose. You always want to be careful. But things, you cannot freeze stuff indefinitely. Desiccation and drying out inhibits the growth due to removal of water. So if it just dries out completely, it's going to die. Bacteria cannot survive indefinitely just sitting on the top of this table we talked about. When I talk about lyophilization,
A little.
a little. What is it?
For when, like, when you're trying to deep freeze like sperm and eggs and stuff.
No, that would be deep freezing.
Isn't that like-
Lyophilization, don't have lyophilization, don't have lyophilization. It's just freeze drying.
Oh, and what was the other word?
Deep freezing. So that's going to be liquid nitrogen at -185 or -273 or something like that.
Okay.
That's cold. That's where you talk about sperms and eggs and tissues and stuff like that. Bacteria can survive for about 10 years and stuff like that.
Oh,
What is lyophilization?
and I don't know.
What is freeze drying?
Take the water out.
Take the water out. How do you do it though? It's kind of a weird process. Usually that is good. One we used to go to in Seguin, Texas. And these big giant chambers. Now we have a few small ones in labs that do it on. So when we talk about boiling, what affects the temperature that water boils at?
Altitude.
Altitude pressure, right? So what you do when you freeze dry something, you put it inside of an instrument and you draw a vacuum. You drop the pressure down to essentially zero, or as close to zero as you can get. So what's going to happen to that water is that low pressure. You can heat it up a little bit. What? It's going to boil off, but now you got to be careful. It's boiling off, right? It's gassing off. But is it hot enough to damage the tissues? No, it's because of the pressure drop. So it goes from a liquid to a gas, and once you take all the water out, there's no water for anything to interact with, and it completely what? Puts these things in suspended animation for decades.
And they lower the pressure to get that.
Yeah, they pull
Okay.
that, yeah.
What about when you want to use them again? How do you like put water back in?
You can sometimes, like when we order them from ATCC, you get this little powder in there, get a little liquid media, shake it up, put it in the incubator, bam, they come pretty much right back to life. Water will reanimate them, but you usually want to put something in there so they've got some media and stuff to go on to. But yeah, it's and depending on the organism, you could put them just in regular water and they're going to come back. As soon as they get liquid, they rehydrate, bam. That's what I said about viruses. Don't even have to worry about meeting with them, right? They're still going to become active as soon as they reactivate. Let me rehydrate. This desiccation right here, this is dried fruit. All right. Some things you cannot heat up. Things that have a lot of proteins in them. Vaccines, media for growing stuff. That has a bunch of growth factors in it. And a bunch of nutrients and a bunch of proteins in it. You cannot heat those up. The whole idea is to what? Denature those, right? So how am I gonna sterilize something like that? How do you sterilize a vaccine? How would you sterilize it?
I guess through filtration.
You're gonna filter. It's gonna be called filter sterilization. So if you see anything on the test, guys, I'm throwing a little hint. You see anything on the test that talks about vaccines or protein media or anything like that, they have to be filter sterilized.
Protein media vaccines.
Vaccines, anything you can think of that you just, in the back of your mind, know you cannot heat up. And of course, it's gotta be a liquid, right?
You have to do what? Filter
Filter sterilization.
sterilization.
Mhm. Like I said, it's gotta be a liquid, obviously. You can't filter sterilize a solid. And so here's some of the different, let me explain it. Sorry guys, man, it's going to kill me, it won't go away. So you get your non-sterile media up here, whatever it is, we sterilize media all the time in labs like this. Put the media in there, you add all the stuff you want to add to it, and then you run it through a filter, pull a vacuum, and then all the bacteria are going to stay in the filter. The media, since it's liquid, should go right through it. That stuff is sterilized. Depending on what you're doing, it's going to depend on what size filter you use. If you're not worried about bacteria, you just want to get rid of what? Multicellular algae, fungi, stuff like that, all you need is a 5-micron filter. Most of them we use that I've seen are going to be 0.4 or 0.22. That's going to get rid of what? Most large bacteria, largest virus, almost all bacteria. That's usually what you're worried about. 0.025 is getting pretty small, right? So the smaller they get, that's what happens to the price.
Raises.
Price goes up, okay? And these 0.01, I've never seen a 0.01 filter. Never worried about viruses. Problem is, what's this one right here? Mycoplasma. These are a big problem because they can get through most of these larger filters, and they end up infecting a lot of tissue culture work out there and stuff. A lot of people have issues with these. The mycoplasma, they'll squeeze right through that. They don't have a cell wall. This stuff, biosafety cabinet, we went over this, didn't we? How this works? Did I or didn't I?
No.
Didn't? Okay. This is a biosafety cabinet right here. It's got holes here, and it's got a sash here with holes here. I'm not a sash, a grate here with holes, and then it's got a sash, and it's got a UV light in here. The idea behind this is you close this down, turn the UV light on for a while, and the UV light should do what to the inside of that?
Sterilize them.
Sterilize it. Then you turn on the air, and it recirculates all that air. So it pulls it through the back and goes up through a HEPA filter. Brings it down here, goes up through a HEPA filter. Part of it gets recirculated, part of it just gets pushed right outside. And it doesn't go outside, it just goes right above it. So it's got to be filtered, right? You don't want to infect your entire lab or hospital. Open this up. This does two things. What does it do? What are the two important functions of a biosafety cabinet?
Sterilization.
Which one?
Sterilization.
It's sterile inside of there. You've got a sterile environment, so how does that work?
Separate like the environment, like the inside and the outside.
So what two things can you do in here? It's kind of got two purposes. You're right, it separates you, so you got a sterile environment inside of there, right? Anything that comes in here, theoretically should get sucked down in there, right?
It creates an environment where it's safe to mess with that kind of stuff, maybe?
Right. Two things it can do. A, it can protect you. If you're working with things that aerosolize and they get knocked up, they're going to get sucked down inside of there. B, you can leave all your little plates and all your little things open because you're also protecting your work. So put that sterile environment in there. So if you're going to work with human cells, I think you can do it in there. All right. Do we have to cover osmotic pressure for the 27th time? How does osmotic pressure work? What protects the bacteria from osmotic pressure? Is it protected from hypertonic or hypotonic? Hypotonic. Why isn't it protected from hypertonic? Cells in hydronic solution of salt and sugar lose that water. What happens to the cell inside of the back of the wall? Good. Radiation, everybody's favorite. I watched the whole thing on radiation last time when I couldn't sleep. 2 minutes per type, don't worry about learning the wavelengths. Ionizing radiation is called ionizing radiation because it creates ions. It's sneaky here. It's got enough energy that when it hits these molecules, it'll kick off electrons. And when it knocks those electrons off, they become ions, right? And what do ions like to do? They've got a charge on them now. What do they like to do? They like to interact and bind with things, right? So now you've created all these reactive chemicals inside of there. Electron beams, gamma rays, and some X-rays. We're talking about these. So ejects electrons from atoms to create ions. Ions now, because they have a charge, and hydrogen bonding is due to what? How does hydrogen bonding work?
Attraction between
What?
negatively charged atoms and
Is that negatively charged, or is that an ionic bond?
okay. Well, it's with the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly. Like, it's not an actual connection. They're kind of like.
Water's the big one, right? You guys remember water from 1306? Anybody? Let's make it fun. Nobody ever remembers it. It's that partial charge. Remember? Polar and non-polar covalent bonds? Okay, so you're going to have a partial positive charge here, partial negative charge here. But and those are all interact with each other. That's hydrogen bonding. That's the way your DNA stays together. But if you have a bunch of ions in it that have full-blown charges on them, what are they going to want to do? They're going to start ripping those hydrogen bonds apart. They're going to start separating them out.
Makes
So
sense.
disrupt the hydrogen bonding. Oxidize double covalent bonds. Create hydroxyl radicals. If you have water or something, you kick that off, you're going to have an OH group. All these things are very what? Reactive. Okay? And if they're reactive, they like to do what? React with things. Secondly, ionizing radiation pretty much just shreds your DNA. It goes through and it denatures other molecules, it denatures your DNA. It disrupts the hydrogen bonding in there. It can separate the phosphodiester linkages. It can just shred these things and destroy them. So electron beams are efficient at killing microbes but do not penetrate well, so where would you use that? They're pretty strong, but they don't penetrate, so what would you use them for? In terms of sterilization. What could you use them for?
Eukaryotes, like bacteria eukaryotes, since they don't have so long. So
Right, but what type of thing would you be trying to sterilize?
Like
So anything that comes in contact, like tools.
Tools, surfaces, things like that. Instruments, things like that, you can use electron beams. They're not super bad. Gamma rays penetrate well but require hours to kill microbes. When you see things that are irradiated for sterilization, it's usually gamma rays. Okay? They get a cobalt source, they put them in there for a while. Bless you. I don't think it takes hours. I don't know how thick that stuff is. But most things use gamma rays. They just go through and start to shred everything. All the DNA gets shredded and everything. What are X-rays? What's the big deal with X-rays, guys? You guys will be around X-rays. CT scans, X-rays. Why do we worry about them?
Because we're going to be around them so often that we'll be exposed to them in over a period of time. Our DNA will be susceptible to.
Going to damage your DNA potentially. So X-rays require a long time to kill microbes. They're not practical for microbial control. In fact, they use them in research to sort of zap the bacteria in the cells, but they'll stay alive for a while. They just damage the DNA and they can't replicate.
Oh, okay.
How does that affect you guys? What are some examples of X-rays in the past that have caused problems? Or radiation in the past that has caused problems they didn't know about?
Do they cause cancer?
That certainly can cause cancer, definitely. In fact, Madame Curie and her husband both discovered, high years of radiation. They both died from what? Cancer
No, they
from
don't.
radiation poisoning.
The husband died in a car accident.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he died. I thought they both died from that.
He died like right after they got their award in a car accident.
Yeah.
And then she died from
From
radiation. Her hands are all...
So, do you ever see those old shows where they have little screens they put in front of people and you can see the bones inside of them.
Yeah.
They actually have those called fluoroscopes. They also used to have shoe models back in the day. You walked into the shoe store and you put your feet in there and they turn on and you see your little toesies in there and you can see if your shoes fit.
Oh my gosh.
So it worked well, except they had people who demonstrated those things, shoe models. Guess what happened to them?
Foot cancer.
They all started coming out with cancer of the feet. You ever heard of cancer of the feet? Not very common. But they were blasting them up these x-rays they didn't know about it. Another one, you've ever looked at the old school watches that glow in the dark?
Yeah.
What is that called?
Wow.
The things that have happened over time that people don't know about.
I heard about
What?
this, and back in the 70s, like someone got rid
Back
of
in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
It's called radium. And it's a radioactive chemical that glows in the dark. So there are these things, they had names for them, I forgot what they're called, but they were mostly women during World War II. So they would sit in there with a little bottle of radium and their watches and their toothbrush, and they would carefully paint the lines on there.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
What?
I heard about that. They were eating it.
And over time, they all developed these really weird cancers of the jaw, the throat, thyroid, all that area down there.
What the heck?
No, that's what they worry about, x-rays. X-rays are still, like I said, that's where the concern with the CT scans is. They're still looking into that. But the idea is, are they doing too many of them sometimes?
Wow.
So, right here, which one do you want? Same strawberries, same package, one with plasma with gamma rays, the other one was left alone. Yum, yum, yum. So what do you think? You think we should irradiate all our food?
No.
Why not? What do you think? Why not?
We're exposing ourselves to
Are you?
cancer.
Okay, that's one of the misconceptions about radiation. How does radiation work? If I blast a little strawberry, are these strawberries radioactive now? Are they? I put a Geiger counter over them. I hit them with gamma rays. I put a Geiger counter over that thing. Is it going to go off?
I guess it depends
I
how
do
long
too.
you
I
go
think so
radiate.
too.
This is one
Chernobyl.
of the huge
Oh, yeah.
misconceptions of radiation. Hey, if a bomb goes off, that whole area is going to be what? Chernobyl now is what? You guys, I get you cheap tickets to Chernobyl, man. Why don't you want to go there?
The radiation exposure.
Super hot there still, right? The actual gamma rays, alpha particles, beta particles, they just go right through you and keep going.
Oh.
They don't irradiate, the things don't become radioactive that way. The things like Chernobyl and bombs that go off is they disintegrate and they make fine little particles that settle everywhere, and those fine particles are still radioactive.
So it's just because of the extent, since it was an explosion versus just a
Right. If you
small.
just hit that, otherwise, every time you got an x-ray, you walked out and went to, went by a Geiger counter, you do what?
Don't go
Set that sucker off, right? So it's not that, it's not the gamma rays, it's not the alpha particles, the beta particles. They make you radioactive. They just go right through you. That's why x-rays work. They just go, right?
Oh.
So if
So
you
these are not radioactive, don't worry about that.
so if you sit and radiate another element for a long time, it does not become radioactive.
It depends on how long you hit it. If you kick off, if you start knocking off neutrons and stuff, you can, yeah.
Okay.
You can't do that. Fission and fusion, that's what happens. Especially fission. Boom, and everything out there is radioactive for 235 years. If you're lucky.
But then there is still an expiration date, so that should tell you that even at a big explosion, there's
Yeah.
still an expiration. So if a tiny little one is going to have its own expiration, right?
Like this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it
So
does, because
seconds, maybe.
Because the thing is, it's sending, okay. If a bomb goes off, boom, right?
Yeah.
That bomb just disintegrates into a bunch of little particles. And those particles go all over the place. Those particles are what are radioactive still. So
Oh.
they're the ones that are sitting up with gamma rays, and they're sitting out the alpha particles and the beta particles. If you get an x-ray from a machine, you've got, the old school ones had a cobalt source, radioactive cobalt, and that will let the x-rays come off, that were the gamma rays. And they would just, you ever saw an old school x-ray machine? They would actually sort of crank these things open. It was almost like a little monster with x-rays would go blasting out, and they would close them back down. So the x-rays, this is what's radioactive. it's releasing those particles that are going out. They just keep right on going.
Oh, okay.
So they don't make you radioactive.
Okay.
So you shouldn't be. You are, there's a problem. Is anybody here eating irradiated food?
Yes.
Yes.
I've had strawberries.
Huh?
I've had strawberries.
You think you all have?
Probably, yes.
Everybody here has. They actually irradiate a lot more fruits and vegetables in the U.S. than we think.
Wow.
Especially fruits, for long-term travel. So do you think they should irradiate everything?
Most.
Or not? It would get rid of, you wouldn't have to worry about Chipotle killing you anymore. You wouldn't have to worry about hamburger. In fact, I know a guy who got some of that Walmart hamburger meat. He actually thinks he may be sick.
Oh.
I think he's a hypochondriac person.
Oh.
He said he's sick. Well, that wouldn't happen. So what's the problem with irradiating? What's the big argument against it?
Can you cook?
Doesn't cook. These aren't going to cook like that. They're not going to heat up.
Is it because the science behind it isn't completely?
Pretty good idea what it
Well,
does.
I don't know then. I don't.
But it creates ions, right?
Yeah.
So some of the people are saying that it may damage the nutritional value of some of these things.
Oh.
Another one.
Now, they've done several studies over this, and they've shown no differences in nutritional value between irradiated and non-irradiated. So what's the other downside?
Was it like you said, the misconception? The stigma? Like people not wanting?
Oh, perception is a huge part of it. Yeah, well, I remember. What does MRI stand for? You guys all do medicine. Magnetic resonance imaging, right? What is an NMR? Well, you probably heard it, huh?
Nuclear something.
NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance. They're the same thing. They just didn't think patients would want to get in any machine that had the name nuclear attached to it.
Oh wow.
So they got rid of the NMR and called them MRI. Same thing. They just set up a magnetic field and raise your electrons up and turn it off and they drop down. The first time they did it, they didn't know if the person was going to go. What is the problem with irradiating everything? What's another problem?
It's expensive.
Could be expensive, safety though. So that's the thing they always come back and forth on. Do you want every single person out there to have a little gamma cobalt source floating around? Because how are you going to keep track of all that stuff? And they have enough trouble with X-ray machines and things like that. A few years ago, there was a couple more than that. There was a scrap dealer in Mexico. Why was it? Bought some metal from somebody, bought some metal from somebody else. This guy didn't know what it was. It was scrap metal, right? So he melted it down. He made iron patio furniture out of it. Then he loaded on a truck and he was shipping it up to Denver and he went right past Los Alamos on the way to Denver. And Los Alamos has radiation detectors on all their gates. And it triggered the radiation detectors. Turns out the original guy who bought that scrap metal, it was an old X-ray machine from a dentist's office somewhere else. And it had been melted down and they kept you warm in the winter. You could sit in it and stay nice and toasty warm. But that actual furniture was radioactive.
Wow. So
he hadn't been caught. They hadn't caught it. Somebody in Denver would have been. Wow.
Glowing.
Non-ionizing radiation, wavelengths greater than 1 nanometer. It excites electrons, causing them to make new covalent bonds, so stuff starts bonding together. Okay? Classic example of that are thymine dimers, right? UV light causes what? Thymine dimers. They dimerize in your DNA. We get these all the time, so we're just very good at what? Fixing them, repairing them. We got tons of these enzymes and they'll fix it. Okay? They don't penetrate well. Suitable for disinfecting air, transparent fluids, and surfaces. They're actually using UV light now to sterilize water for drinking places. Because they're trying to get away from chlorinating as much. Ozone is UV light. Well, what's the other one? It's not up here. How about microwaves? How do they work?
They excite the water inside of the food that you put in it.
They excite the water somewhere?
In the food.
In the what? Fluid?
The food.
In the food? And then what do? They just get excited.
Yeah.
Woo!
Since like water, since the water conducts like the heat.
Yeah. What it does, it excites the molecules of water atoms that they absorb the microwaves and they start vibrating faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And the faster they vibrate, the more what? The more heat they produce. Good, good. Not many people know that. We got you. How's the microwave? All right, guys. So which ones do I want you guys to know on here?
Dry heat.
Boiling, autoclaving, pasteurization, incineration. A lot of these you should already know. Refrigerating, freezing, and desiccation. Filtration, easy. You should know osmotic pressure. All right, chemical methods. Again, what do they affect? It can be the same thing when we get to the drug. What are the main targets for sterilization or killing bacteria? Cell wall, cell membrane, protein synthesis,
and
two more.
Protein.
RNA and DNA, you want to do that, you got to be careful with those. The other one are metabolic pathways. And we'll talk about sulfa drugs in a little bit. Okay. Effects vary on differing environmental conditions. If you have a lot of organic stuff on a patient, some of these things are going to be less effective. Chlorine doesn't do real well with organic stuff. It starts to bind all the organic chemicals in it. Dirt, grime. All right. I'm going to go to this last part here, guys. I'm going to pick a couple of these from each category, and I want you to know them. All right? Phenols or phenolics. Denature proteins and disrupt cell membranes. These are effective even in the presence of organic matter, which is what's nice about it. Okay? Even though it's kind of dirty, phenols work really well. They may remain active for a long period of time. Commonly used in healthcare settings, labs, and homes. However, they usually don't smell very good, okay? And they have possible side effects. Very strong phenols are very, very powerful. Now, what was the phenol we talked about at the very beginning of the semester?
Phenol red?
Hmm?
Is it ammonia one?
Nope, that's an ammonia. It's an ammonia compound.
Oh.
What is it?
ethanol.
Nope, ethanol and alcohol.
Bleach?
It's halogen.
Dang it.
From aldehyde to aldehyde.
Give us a
It's
hint.
not that bad when it comes to memorizing them because you go through. Very first chapter, we talked about a guy who used something to sterilize medical instruments. Carbolic acid is also another name for phenol. Okay?
Carbolic acid?
If it's very concentrated, it will burn the heck out of you. It will burn a hole into you. Okay? Phenol right here. It works pretty well. Have you seen hexachlorophene? That's a lot of the hospital cleaning agents, exactly. A lot of those use phenol. This stuff works really well. Okay? The one I want you to know really is right here. Well, no phenol. If you don't get if I say phenol, what is phenol? You better put it to phenol. But triclosan is the one we find where? I went over in the lab already once or twice. Where do we find triclosan? That's the main ingredient of antimicrobial soaps. So I want you guys to know that one. That's the big controversial one. Yeah, it's ending up in sewers, and that's getting bacteria that you think was really good, but you're getting bacteria that become resistant to triclosan. Alcohols. They're easy, it's an alcohol. Intermediate level disinfectants, you need your proteins to shut down the membranes. More effective than soap at removing bacteria from hands. That's why what works. What? Huh? The what?
The hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. That's your regular. It works really well. People for some reason don't think it works well. And again, swabbing your skin with alcohol prior to injection removes microbes. A, you de-germ it, right? Which is just a mechanical removal. And B, you're also doing what? Adding an antiseptic to it, right? All right. Halogens. Intermediate level antimicrobial agents. Damage enzymes by nature, widely used in applications. Since you guys are all going to be clinicians, I want you to know iodine and chlorine, bleach. These are two of the halogens I want you guys to know. And there's just that. Oxidizing agents. These are peroxide, ozone, peracetic acid. Look at these. Killed by oxidation of microbial enzymes. Underline this part right here. These are high-level disinfectants. Pure peroxide will do what? Pure hydrogen peroxide will do what? It doesn't blow up in your face. It'll burn almost anything up. Peroxides are incredibly potent. Hydrogen peroxide can disinfect and sterilize surfaces. Not useful for treating open wounds because why do we say?
Burns your tissue. Burns your tissue.
That and the catalase. So you've got that double-edged sword. You can put enough on there to start overwhelming the catalase, but then you're going to start damaging your tissues. It's just not that great. When is one time when you can use hydrogen peroxide that I said? That it's effective. It lowers doses. When did I say? Okay. When did I say it's useful? Thank you. On patients or on people. Where do you find catalase, guys?
What is catalase?
Catalase is an enzyme that breaks down. We went over that.
I can't remember.
Those questions over the last time. Catalase is an enzyme that break down hydrogen peroxide. It's on your skin. It's what makes everything fizz. Your skin produces a bunch of catalase. Your inside tissues, your muscles, your dermal layers, they do not. So deep puncture wounds where you're worried about anaerobic organisms, that's where hydrogen peroxide is useful. A, you're not going to break it down with the catalase, and B, the organisms are going to be very susceptible. They use ozone now to treat drinking water, and the peracetic acid is an effective sporicide because it kills pretty much everything. All right, surfactants are just soaps. All I want you to know is how soaps work. A surfactant you also have in your lungs, right? Surfactants reduce surface tension. Things just get slippery, and they just slide off. That's how soaps work. They have a hydrophilic and hydrophobic ends. They are not antimicrobial, they are degerming agents. They just cause things to move and slide off. When you wash your hands, you kill those bacteria. No, they're just sliding off. Why do you need hydrophobic and hydrophilic regions?
Because of the membrane, because of the heads and the tails.
And not just that, what about other things though? Why does soap need it?
Formed by cells.
Don't even think about cells, because you guys are overthinking this, you're thinking more biology. Why just in general does soap need to be amphipathic? Have part of it's hydrophobic and part of it's hydrophilic.
So you have into everything.
Yeah, some things that you get on you are going to be water soluble, some things like oils and stuff aren't. So you want to make sure it grabs everything up. Trying to go through these in a hurry. Ammonia is just ammonia, so just remember ammonia.
Okay.
Heavy metal is not Metallica. Heavy metal ions, denatured proteins, low-level bacteriostatic and fungal agents. The one I want you to know is the silver nitrate and the thimerosal. Thimerosal is the one that was in vaccines. Silver nitrate that you put in babies' eyes just in case the mother had undiagnosed gonorrhea. Now I'm told they use antibiotics. I don't know. That animal is more good. All right. Aldehydes. Cross-linked functional groups, denatured proteins, inactivated nucleic acids. Glutaraldehyde disinfects and sterilizes. And then formals, and all these two. You should see glutaraldehyde probably if you've done any DNA research. It cross-links all the DNA together, and so it just does what? Your DNA is just what? It's all cross-linked together, it can't do anything. This stuff is actually pretty easy. And formalin is just what? It's diluted formaldehyde, basically. All right, gaseous agents, let's get this real quick, this is my favorite one. Antimicrobial and sporicidal gases used in closed chambers. So if I wanted to sterilize this thing, because I'm afraid it got anthrax on it, am I going to run it through a gamma radiator? It's too big. Am I going to put it in an oven? No, it's going to catch on fire. Am I going to put it in an autoclave? No, it's going to ruin it. So things like that, things that like furniture they need to sterilize from maybe crime scenes. A lot of medical instruments, they use this, very popular now with medical instruments. Hospitals, dental offices. The disadvantage, I love this. What's the first one say? Can be hazardous. What's the second one?
And it's used in hospitals and dental?
Extremely poisonous. potentially carcinogenic, but it can be hazardous to people. Not necessarily, but it can be. I love whoever wrote that. All right, enzymes, just no license signs, guys. You need no license. We'll go over these again, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll talk about this later on. I'll finish this up with you last, but I don't want those people waiting out there. All right. So what we're going to do is labs, and then I'm going to separate out two different labs. Because it's a good time to semester for this anyway. Like I said, we're waiting for more meetings.